Welcome to my live stream live from Bangkok, Thailand. It is the last show of the week, and we have so many things to talk about. The top story here is mind blowing. It also comes from the UK, as early in the week we had another crazy story coming out of that country. Then we're going to have the her question of the week. A lot of women post questions for men, and we're going to respond to one of them. Then we're going to move on to the profile of the week. And normally I show you guys what the red flags are in different dating profiles on the dating apps. However, this one is one of the very few, and it took me a while to find, that is actually pretty good. This is the profile to swipe right on. And again, I'm going to disappoint you. We don't have a nasty comment from a feminist to go over it as the comment of the day. It actually is another really cool comment that I wanted to go over it. And this wasn't even from my own video. So we're going to go over that a little bit later as well. But the top story is coming from the UK once again, and this one is mind blowing. One of the UK police department in the city of Surrey is targeting men that I already could have stopped there, but they're targeting men for catcalling. And I shit you not. Now, listen, catcalling is fucking stupid, and you got to be a pathetic loser to do that. However, that is still within those men's rights. It's definitely within their freedom of speech rights. And we hurting women's feelings is not a crime. Now, I've reached out to the Surrey Police Department and I said, guys, why did you decide to go with this particular program? That's kind of weird. So they replied by email and they said, well, we launched this initiative because this is the most unreported crime that we know of, and we got to get to the bottom of it. To which I said, well, actually, if you want to look into the most unreported crime, it's usually not catcalling, about jogging. It is usually domestic violence against men. And in the reply, they said, "Oh, we don't want to talk to you anymore." Well, of course, they put it a little bit more politely in this particular message, but the meaning is still the same. As soon as I threw some facts at them that they were kind of full of shit, they ran away. Now, early in that conversation by email, I said, well, why aren't you trying to investigate the crime, that women commit against men? To which they said this. They said there is no recorded data in relations to female predators who target men at public places of this nature. What do you mean of this nature? Shouldn't you go after a crime of any nature? And if you want to go after that crime, then there's plenty. As a matter of fact, the story that came out earlier from the same country of yours was about one of many women who target men on social media, still considered to be public places or dating apps, and scamming them for thousands and thousands of dollars. I covered that story quite recently, but no, somehow they are not aware of this. And listen, this PR department replies, which I think most of them were women who replied to me, are obviously full of shit. This should never happen. But I was going to analyze this a little bit more, but then I came across, one of the few pieces in the mainstream media that cover this. This is from Sky News Australia, out of all places, and they covered this, I would say, in a great way. So let's watch a little bit of that segment.
These women aren't friends out for a run. They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation trying to stop people catcalling and harassing female runners.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window.
Yeah. Honked at and staring is not breaking a fucking law. This is insane that these people are not only doing it, but then getting in front of the camera and saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just going to go after men for staring and honking. Now, by the way, let's also be fucking honest. A lot of women choose to jog and go to the gyms barely in anything, and you're going to say, oh, Alex, you're victim blaming. Yeah, sometimes I am, but except for these are not victims. Then yes, I'm just blaming women who looking like hoes out there in the parks, jogging, or in the gyms, and then asking for a lot of attention because that's the only reason to put those outfits on. I've seen plenty of workout outfits that are loose and are not sexy, and they cover everything. But those women who picked the, I'll show everybody everything outfits. Yeah, they're asking for attention and they're getting it. So I don't see a problem. But let's keep going here. Let's just be very clear. Honking at women and staring at women is not a crime. Something that Surrey Police Department should be aware of, but apparently they're not.
Window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
Police teams are ready to intervene the moment the officers are beeped at, followed, or shouted at.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna tell me that you guys went out there and told men, oh, you can't shout at women in public? Are you out of your fucking minds? And yet again, let's remember that there are plenty of men who are victims of domestic violence that this police department apparently doesn't give a fuck about.
So this is really interesting, Freya. A lot of women are really happy about this. They say they're sick of being harassed. They want to be able to just jog. The way you're looking at me, I think you're going to disagree.
Yeah, the way she was looking at him, you would think she would disagree, being a woman. But let's see what happened next.
A lot of women are very supportive of this.
Yeah.
But a lot of other people are arguing, come on, there's so much crime in the UK, maybe solve some actual crimes rather than concern yourself with things that aren't offences.
Yes, that's right. These are not offenses. They should be solving actual crime instead of doing this bullshit. But the reply from the female reporter is, mwah.
And aren't illegal and unsavoury, but not illegal. What do you think?
Well, that's the thing. So when these undercover police catch people catcalling at them, what are they going to do? Go, oh, you naughty person, stop catcalling me. I mean...
That might just turn them on a bit, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what they've done. They've gone...
Yeah, exactly. But that, you're laughing about it, but that's exactly what fucking happened. It appears that they've approached those men and said, don't do this. And they probably had to, detain these men. I mean, I am surprised this is not under some sort of federal investigation. But again, this is Great Britain.
And explained, and the other thing is people honking their horns at these women, and so police have intercepted them and explained this sort of behaviour is not cool.
I feel like anyone who is going out of their way to catcall a woman probably wouldn't be perturbed by a policeman giving them a warning not to catcall. I mean, clearly they don't care about social etiquette anyway.
I like this girl. If we would have more women like that, we wouldn't have stories like this. What a very sober perspective from a Western female.
I think this is going to make much of a difference.
Oh, can you imagine all the tradie work sites that they're going to have to go and monitor now? I mean, once upon a time it was sort of a mark of, oh, wow, I look good today. They gave me a catcall because we've moved on.
Now, so I thought, okay, well, the third guy is definitely going to be on the side of feminist bullshit. But this guy's doubled down on that. First of all, he's right. There are I think there was even a Saturday Night Live skit about this, how women miss catcalling. They actually took pleasure in getting attention. And listen, the number one addiction that modern women have now is attention and validation. So I would say they probably want catcalling more than ever. But whatever. This guy's great. Let's listen to this guy.
On from those times. But for goodness sake, do we really need to be putting police resources into it? And they've actually explained, the coppers over there, why they've done it. And it's not just because, it's an unsavoury thing to do. They are convinced that any bloke who catcalls a woman is a potential criminal who needs to be intercepted.
Those kind of behaviours may not be criminal offences in themselves, but they still need to be addressed. And of course, the people that are likely to commit those kind of behaviours, they may then go on to commit more serious offences.
That is fucking insane. That they're saying that we're going to intervene. We're going to, as a police department, we're going to go and stop this man, right? Detain this man because they might possibly be the future rapists, right? I mean, what the fuck is going on? I mean, how is this on television and that police department does not have a demonstration of people, at least men, around the block? But I guess I know how, is because most men in Great Britain as well as are simps. This is a great example. He's right there on the screen. They do have, and I think this is the police chief. I looked it up. The police chief is a man. I wouldn't probably call him that after this, but he has a penis.
Or more serious behaviours.
I mean, for goodness sake, the police in the UK are clearly on the offensive about offence at the moment. Oh, we've got to make sure women don't get offended by a catcall. We've got to make sure that shoplifters don't get offended by being called scumbags.
Yeah, I mean, and he went on, and this guy's awesome. I'd love to listen to his opinion on pretty much any topic, because and listen, this was pretty surprising, right? I thought, oh my goodness, when I saw this report, is like two dudes and a girl. This is all going to be very, very bad. But this is probably the most sober coverage of this news. Now, there's not enough coverage of this news, and I don't think there's enough coverage in Great Britain about this news, but this is the most sober way of looking at this. This is not a crime. Police should not be doing this. Police cannot do this. And it is really violation of free speech and men's rights and stuff like that. And targeting men specifically, for me, that is why we're doing this segment. And again, if the reason why they did it is such a bullshit reason, and as soon as I gave them the right answer, they decided to stop talking to me. So, but I did my best investigative journalism to bring you guys at least some conversation between me and the police department, because I like to bring both sides of the story. I gave them a chance to give me some sort of an explanation, and they only dug themselves a deeper hole. Let me take a quick question from a comment, I guess, from the chat. When men have to fight for their rights, just how much we have hit rock bottom. Yeah. The only thing is I think the problem is much bigger here, is because a lot of men don't realize that they don't have as many rights, or those rights have been taken away from them, and they're afraid to go and stand up for themselves. And that's why I have a hard time calling modern men men. They are kind of a subspecies of what used to be men, right? They're simps, they're beta males, and this is why stories like this fucking exist, and I'm one of the only people covering it, really. So it is what it is, and we got to live with it for now. Of course, I hope more and more of us speak up and fight for it, and at some point we're once again going to be equal to women one day, but probably not in my lifetime. I guess we have to start somewhere, and we might as well start it with reporting on this in the correct light. So kudos to those reporters as well. Okay. Now, let me set myself up for the next segment here, since I'm running everything myself. Let's see. All right. Let's move on to the weekly segment. And this is Friday. So for Friday, we're doing her question of the week. This is where I am going to answer questions that women ask men on social media. And this lovely lady here has a pretty good one. So, but the answer I'm going to give her, it might actually surprise you guys where I'm going to get that answer. So let's get started.
This is a question for the men. If you're not a man, keep scrolling. Okay, so men, why are we hating women? Why are we hating women?
Okay, so here where I was going to stop the video and tell you guys what she's missing here, which I think, but then I looked into her comment section.
I feel like,
okay, let's scroll and look, and the answers there are just perfect. Not hating, just protecting our peace. Feminism, no hate, we just bypass all the drama. Not hating, tired of all the games and being a wallet. Not into getting lied to and cheated on. Even Stephen Wonder can see what the problem is. We do not hate you, we just respect ourselves. No hate, I'm just invisible to women. You know the answer. Feminism won. Men don't hate women, it is worse. We actually don't care about women. That is true. I nothing Western women myself. You're just annoying. I mean, all of these answers are like right. I couldn't have phrased it better myself. So that's why we're here. So that is, all of them together is the correct answer. And yes, it's a bit of a gaslighting because we don't really hate women. We just like, nothing Western women.
I feel like women are hating men and men are now hating women. They don't want to get married. They don't want to live with them.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I could never ever recommend a man getting married, really, in any Western country. But even in here, Southeast Asia, I mean, most of the time you're fine, and the laws are not as anti-men as they are in America. But yeah, it's and it's not really even specifically about getting married. Even if you found the girl of your dreams for some reason, still, you should not be getting married to her in a Western country. But also, the bigger problem is that women are just not worth the hassle anymore, right? What women have to offer, which is nothing much beyond sex, and what they're demanding is just not realistic for men anymore. And a lot of men would rather just walk away. Some men like me, we keep walking all the way to, in my case, Thailand, where, some women are still very much traditional, and more than happy to deal with them. So that's really the answer in a nutshell. But let's keep going.
They, they just want to be single forever. Like, what's going on here? Are all you men into men now?
That's a bit of a gaslighting here because, no, we're not just turning gay. We're just walking away. The option of not dating women, Western women, is not dating other men. It's, again, either walking away or coming to Thailand like I did, or to another conservative culture and looking for a wife there. We are jealous of gay men because, as I covered earlier this week, the divorce rate of gay men by far the lowest compared to divorce rate of lesbian couples, and the heterosexual couples are in the middle. So as soon as there is a woman mixed into a union, shit hits the fan more times than not. So yes, we're jealous, but we're not gay. We just really don't want to date you.
Like, what's going on? I'm so confused. I feel like we're creating a divide here, folks.
Well, it's the women who created a divide, and unfortunately, it's the simps, the men in Western societies that kind of permitted that, and now are essentially encouraging that in some ways. This is why red pill content exists, and it's called red pill because most of men don't even know what's happening and that the fact that what they're doing is wrong, and it's working against them, every single one of them.
Can we come back together? I love men. And I want men to start loving women again. Like,
I agree. I would love that as well. I wouldn't have to move out of my country where I lived for 30 fucking years, right? But unfortunately, as we talked about this yesterday, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because it's really not up to women are going to behave the way they are because they can. It's very easy, right? They get all the attention, they get the money, they don't have to do shit in return because all of these simps are allowing for that. The problem is the simps, right? Until men, a good number of men, especially high value men, wake up to this and stop doing stop encouraging women, it's not going to happen. I'll give you a quick example. So today I matched with a girl, which she actually, as you know, I normally don't, but she was very good looking, 28 years old, a Thai girl who spoke English. But I didn't realize that until into the conversation, but okay. And once again, she was a very good looking girl. I invited her. Well, I asked her, can you tell me about yourself? And a better looking girl is, the more retarded she is and lazy she is when it comes to that question. She's like, well, what do you want to know? I'm like, oh my God, you can't even answer the question that a 5-year-old can answer in front of a classroom. I said, well, what do you want? An FBI style interrogation? You're not going to like that either. She's like, no. I said, you know what? I have a better idea. Why don't we meet up on Sunday at 3 p.m.? I know this coffee shop, we can get to know each other in person. She goes, oh no, I only drink coffee by myself and I don't like to be interrogated. What the women used to love to be asked out by men, right? And now they go like, nah, I don't really want. I matched with you and I invested my time, but I don't really. Now, I told her to fuck off immediately, right? After that, I said, okay, goodbye. But the reason she is willing to go, yes, because I am the only one who unmatched her after this. Like 20 other guys who matched with her today, or 100 guys, when I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Would you like a video chat? Would you like me to send you some Venmo for a cup of coffee? Would you like me to come to you and buy you a big dinner, or, pay for a limousine for you to get here, fly you to Italy? You know what I mean? So that's unfortunately what happens with the modern women, and that's why it's up to men not to do it. The reason that I had to unmatch this girl is because there's 100 other simps out there, even here in Thailand, that are willing to basically give her everything that she hasn't deserved yet, and that's where we're at now.
I don't know. What do we need to do? Let me know, and I can try to get the congregation together, and we could try to move forward. So
the congregation is not interested. They're not in. Why? Why would women be interested in changing something? And by the way, why do you even need other women? I tell you, and we're going to talk about this later with a profile of the day, is if you are a woman who is looking for a strong traditional man, and you don't have any of the stupid fucking red flags that, so many Western women have, you will be in the price of gold. You understand that? You don't need other women or whatever. If you are a high value woman, a traditional, kind, all of those things, without tattoos, without stupid fucking careers or nose rings or whatever, you don't need other women. Men, trust me, there will be a line out of your door for that, because that's how rare it is in the Western society. So you don't need other women. You just need to be a traditional, submissive, and kind woman. And if you do that, and if you communicate that through your dating profile, for example, like we're going to see in another second, the way you dress, the way you talk, you will be treated like a princess.
We can all start loving each other again. I don't know. What am I missing? Can you please fill me in? I'm very, 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 very confused.
Yeah, so I don't know why she's very, 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 very confused, because, I mean, there's a very logical explanation that a lot of us have already told these women over and over and over again why this is happening. Now, it is refreshing to see that women are finally kind of turning around and go like, "Ooh, man, where all these men are going? Like, I'm having trouble meeting good men. It seems like men hate women in general. What's going on?" It's good that they're waking up. It feels like it's almost easier to red pill women nowadays than the American and Western simps. I've tried red pilling a few simps, even the ones that came here, and I just, like today, I talked to this one Indian guy who's here for like a business networking event, and I told him about my channel, and he was like, and he asked me a question that I don't fucking even knew how to answer. It was very simple. He asked me, "Why would you want a traditional woman?" He said, "The world has moved on." And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know how to answer it. Like, I don't really know. I couldn't give him a good answer. I was like, what do you mean? Why? How would you, like, what? I was just in shock. And this is what's happening to men. So it seems like there will be more and more women like her, rather than more and more men who have been red pilled. Let me take another comment or question from the chat. I think that's about the previous topic. Which one of these countries are the most anti-men in the world, in your opinion? Russia, UK, USA, or neither, or all of them? Well, Russia, I don't know much about, but from what I remember, I mean, I grew up in Russia, but I haven't been there for over 3 decades. It's still a relatively old school traditional culture, but Russian women who are out there in the world outside of Russia are complete poison. Never, ever, ever, ever date a Russian-speaking woman. I don't care if she's Ukrainian or Belarusian or Russian. But as far as men's rights are concerned, I feel like in Russia it's still okay, but I can't speak of, because there's just not that many reports. Now, I do watch some of the red pill content creators in Russia, but they don't talk about men's rights. They really don't. They really kind of keeping their red pill content to dating. So I'm assuming I'm still right that Russia is not the worst. The UK and USA, I would say, I don't know enough about UK laws. Obviously, they don't have any, or even the police departments are not following them. I'm going to assume that either US is a bit worse or they're equal. And if you go to my TikTok account, the same video is posted on my YouTube channel as well. there's a top 10 anti-men laws in America, right? And I'm assuming they're all very much the same with Great Britain, right? The mandatory draft, the alimony, I don't know if there is, it's harder to answer this question because it is, it requires a very, very extensive study, and I don't think anybody has ever done it. Plus, the ball is moving relatively quickly. Like I said, very recently, Donald Trump signed, well, not recently, it's his first term. I guess recently he signed into law the fact that you now have to actually, the alimony in America is no longer tax deductible. So you have to make more money, pay taxes, and then pay the alimony. I don't know if Britain has that, but that's kind of a recent big setback for, in Americans' men's rights space. So it's a good question, but I don't know. But listen, it depends on why you're asking the answer. Are you moving somewhere? If so, I would not live in any of those three countries, right? I would come to more of a old school country in South Latin America, South America, or right here in Southeast Asia. So depending on why you're asking the question, I guess my answer would probably be the same. So, all right. So let's move on here, and I'll set myself up for the next segment. Okay, let's talk about the dating profile of the day. And I normally show you the profiles with red flags and help you to identify them. But today we're doing something different because this profile is great. It's very rare. I would swipe right on this Western woman profile. Now, you probably know I prefer Black women. That's the type of women I've dated for the last 15 years before I came here to Thailand. To me, she's pretty good looking. I know she's a little bit thick, but a lot of guys who like Black women, we don't mind curvy women. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's not really about like your specific attraction. This is not a beauty competition here, right? We're just looking at the content of the dating profile. So now her pictures are perfectly fine. It's okay to look a little sexy, but overall, I mean, I feel like this is a pose here. But overall, her pictures are very much in the way she dresses. There's no tattoos. There are no nose rings. None of that bullshit. She wears braids. She wears her hair natural. All of these pictures are very much okay. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what her body looks like without looking like a hoe. None of the red flags. Like I said, I look for tattoos. I don't see any tattoos. Now, let me give you one more thing that you might not know about. Because if you scroll down here, she is in Roseville, California. Most of you probably don't know this place. I do because I live nearby in Sacramento. Now, Roseville, California is a very red, white area. And the fact that she lives there by choice, I'm assuming, tells me that she is probably not into race. And by that, I mean, I've dated a lot of Black women, and I lived in Oakland and Houston, very heavily populated Black communities. And a lot of it's hard to date sometimes Black women because essentially they are like, oh, white man is a devil. And, all of this racial prejudice against white people. And I can't be in a relationship like that. Or they would have all these ghetto friends or whatever, So I've always dated Black women who just were women. They did not look at themselves as Black women. They just look at themselves as people. Now, I got to tell you, a Black woman who lives in Roseville, California, a conservative tradition area, does not look at herself as a Black woman. She just looks at herself as a woman. And that's a big plus. So that's a bit of a thing that I wanted to mention. She's 32, great age. Let's see, doesn't smoke cigarettes, drinks sometimes, that's fine, doesn't have kids, but might want them. This is just perfect. She's looking for a long-term relationship. Okay, now, her profile is not that long, but we can skip the whole, she says professional adulting champion, balancing a full-time job, college, and a passion for making the world a better place, which is very nice. The only thing is she sounds like she's a little too busy. I would like to know, like, full-time job is great. The college part, right? Is it like one course a week? Is she trying to get another degree? Does she have absolutely no time? Is the college going to be happening for another 3 years? So that's something to find out, right? Okay, but here comes the part that here comes the part where this woman makes herself extremely rare. That's the type of women that men like me travel to Southeast Asia to find. Okay, she says, I'm here looking for a provider man who appreciates a woman who can thrive in chaos, but also loves a good cuddle on the couch. If you can make me laugh, know how to fix a leaky faucet, and understand, and this is the important part, that provider means more than just picking up the check. We'll get along just fine. Okay, I love this. First of all, she's flat out says, I'm looking for a provider. And by the way, I don't mean money. And this is true. This is where a lot of men and women don't understand what a traditional relationship is and a traditional role of a man is. No, it's not just to pay for your Mercedes and Louis Vuitton purses. As a matter of fact, a good provider doesn't necessarily able to can afford that. Just needs to be able to afford a nice home and nice, safe cars, and and that's pretty much it. Yes, the provider provides much more than money. It provides security, it provides stability, right? It provides the family with good decisions. So this woman, coming from Roseville, California, absolutely understands what a traditional man is. Now, I wish she would say a little bit more about being submissive and everything, but honestly, a woman who is looking for this type of a man usually is pretty submissive. And I know a lot of you guys go say, well, I've never met a submissive black woman before. There are plenty of them, at least when I was in America. Obviously, the number of them, just like with any women, have decreased. But I have been in a 7-year relationship and a few other relationships with very much submissive, traditional black women. They are awesome. So this is the profile to swipe right on. Very rare to find a woman like this. So I wanted to feature this profile just because it is just so rare. I've been swiping on this app back and forth for now 5 days, right? Because I've been looking for, profiles to feature, and a lot of them are just boring. And, I wanted to feature the profiles that were just had a lot of stuff to talk about. But unfortunately, it took me 5 days to find one that is not complete poisonous shit. All right, let me take another quick comment from the chat. The Rock says, in your earlier live stream that was about AI girlfriends, I noticed that your OkCupid restarted before you finished with OkCupid. However, and then you stopped talking. Okay, let me know if there's another one coming. But yeah, so yesterday I did a segment about AI girlfriends, and all of a sudden after I did that, I see more and more stories, and a lot of people send me more stories about the how men and even some women are turning to AI to be nicer. Now, the biggest thing that you probably, if you're following AI, last week ChatGPT 5 came out. It was like a year late, and the guy running the company, the CEO, was like, this is the best thing, it's going to be. And then people realized that besides a lot of stupid things that it has done almost right away, it became less nice. And those people who were using ChatGPT as a companion or even like a romantic companion realized that those girlfriends turned into bitches all of a sudden, because AI moved with the humanity, I guess. So that was a very interesting thing that I've noticed. Okay, The Rock did not really follow this up with anything in the chat. If you will, I'll get back to it in a second. But let me set up the last segment, and this one is. Oops, hold on a second. I'm trying to run my entire computer at the same time. All right, so probably should switch this. Today's comment of the day, once again, is not a poisonous, toxic from a feminist. It's another comment from a man. And this is actually not even my video. It's the video that I featured earlier today, right? The woman asking the question, well, why men hate women, right? This is one of the replies there. Went on a Tinder date yesterday. After the laughs, smiles, and posh food, she literally told me, I only came for the free food. I am fine with being a rich misogynist. So this is quite interesting. First of all, okay, mistake number one, of course, you went on a Tinder. You have Tinder, right? Do not use Tinder or Bumble. If you are to use dating apps nowadays, it has to be something niche, right? It has either like a kink app if you're into something, weird and awesome sexually, or some local app, for example, just for your city or your state, even, right? Here we use Thai Cupid and Thai Friendly. So, or based on some activity. But other than that, I would not be using Tinder and Bumble. You will absolutely end up on shitty dates, almost guaranteed. Even here in Thailand, when I came here, I was using Tinder for 6 months, and I've gone out on 0 dates out of 6 months of swiping on Tinder, even here in Southeast Asia. That's how poisonous Tinder is, and Bumble. And, you should really look at those apps, are the apps where women are being served with 2 things: attention and validation. So if you want to be a simp and do that, by all means, then use Tinder and Bumble. And of course, making money off of men. There's no other purpose of Tinder and Bumble at all nowadays. All right. Now, his mistake number 2 is obviously he took her to dinner on a first date. That is mistake number 1. I suggest that your budget is no more than $10. You take her to a lounge for a drink, or Starbucks or a coffee shop, doesn't matter. That should be the limit. And if you want to extend the date, then walk around the neighborhood. Make sure there's a park nearby. That's it. That will filter out all of these girls who are there just for your money. And there's plenty of them. As a matter of fact, we just mentioned it in the previous segment, right? Women are just mainly want the attention and money, and this is how you end up with it. I'm sure he missed probably a lot of other cues, but that is unfortunate. Now, the funny thing, he says, I'm fine with being a rich misogynist. This guy's saying, listen, I'd rather keep my money, and I'd rather, swear off all the women because I believe they're all hoes, right? I mean, misogyny is a little bit exaggeration, but I get his point, right? And there are a lot of men in America and Western countries that are doing just that, right? It's the hashtag men going their own way, MGTOW. Why we never have good marketing and PR in the red pill movement? MGTOW, Passport Bro, all that. Just let's come up with better names one of these days, guys, right? All right. So that's why a lot of these guys are walking away. And this is one of the very legitimate answers to the question why men have disappeared, especially good men who can obviously provide. We'd rather keep our time and money, which a lot of times in our case is the same thing, to ourselves. Now, I don't call myself obviously a misogynist, because a misogynist is someone who hates all women, and I don't hate any women. And neither does he, and neither do none of these men. But we'd rather basically say, no, thank you. We're good, So the only other thing that you can spend money on in terms of women is when you're getting something which you want, but I cannot say it because woke YouTube and whatever other platforms that I'm streaming on will cancel my stream because I'm promoting something that's illegal, even though somehow Tinder and Bumble do the same thing, and that's perfectly fine. So that's the comment of the day. I absolutely loved it. I just had to absolutely share it with you. Okay. All right. So The Rock actually came back and said, when your OkCupid restarted, I noticed that you lost 1 match from 35 to 34. That was yesterday. Oh, interesting. Maybe that's why it refreshed. I don't know. Now, I did look into that, and yes, these are the actual. I had 35 matches. Now, what happens sometimes is women cancel or pause their profiles. So if you have a girl who matched with you or clicked on a little heart, that will disappear, right? So maybe that's why. I didn't even notice that. I actually don't care about that count because I'm never going to be replying to these women. I might actually do some experimenting going back and forth, but I also don't want to waste the good women's time, if I match with someone who is good. But I am thinking about showing you guys some of the conversations that I have with either Western or Westernized Thai women here in Bangkok, which I just told you about, the one that I told you about earlier, that just basically didn't even want to meet and gave me the dumbest fucking excuses ever about it. So, all right, guys, it is Friday night. Instead of hanging out and enjoying Bangkok and a wild nightlife here, I'm here hanging out with you, and I would have it no other way. However, this is the last time I'm doing it at midnight. I'm sorry, because the preparation, like after this, I still can't go out. I have to work on another 2 hours, cropping this up in little pieces and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do instead, and I think I already mentioned it to you guys a few times, I am going to stream at noon my time here, which is 10 p.m. Pacific time, 1 a.m. unfortunately Eastern time. But don't worry, because if you can't participate, if you can't watch me live, as much as I would love to, you can see either the replay the next day, or I cut them up in different pieces. So if you just wanted a news story, or if you just want whatever of the week or the comment of the day, you can just go and watch those videos separately. So I really appreciate it. All right, guys. This has been fun hanging out with a lot of you. Showed up every day. I appreciate it. Saturday and Sunday, I am off. I'm actually making a video for my Thai speaking channel. I speak enough time where I can make small, quick little videos, and they're doing pretty good here in Thailand, surprisingly. So other than that, I will see you guys, well, on Monday, my time, but really Sunday night, your time. All right. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you next week. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.